Welcome back to the channel. If you are a returning subscriber, if you are new to the channel, I want to welcome you. So we're going to go ahead and jump into this message and transmission that's coming through these cards today. All right, so let me just jump into how we do things here if you are new, all right? First and foremost, I do want to have my disclaimer by letting you know that these videos are for everyone who is on the ascension process, or AKA your remembrance process, remembering your truth, remembering who you really are. All right, that's the first thing. So, whenever this video finds you, just know that it is not by mistake, okay? Everything happens in synchronicity, all right? So, at any point in this message, what's for you is for you. You want to keep that. What's not for you, you want to be able to let that just go, okay? If it's not for you, let it go, all right? If you don't understand, you want to go ahead and shelf it in case you may need to circle on back for some confirmation, verification, as well as some inspiration or motivation, okay? Now, with that being said, you also need to know that access is granted to you based on your inner knowing or your inner belief system, okay? So it's not about whether you're a Christian, a Buddhist, an atheist, none of that, okay? Whatever you believe, all right, you have access to. Whatever you limit yourself to, you don't have access to, okay? That's universal law, all right? Next, you need to know that everything we talk about here on this channel is based on energy. So everything we do here is based on energy, okay? I'm not a medical doctor. I am not your guru. I am not your pastor, okay? I am just your energetic guide that's here to assist you in your ascension process, aka your remembering process, okay? So energy is fluid. What you need to know, if I say it's you, but it's not you, but it's the energy you're interacting with, place the energy where it needs to be, but you also want to take accountability for your stuff, all right? And last but not least, you need to remember that you are your own guru, all right? You are your own savior. You. All right. Now, you're going to hear four tones, my love. All right. And the first tone symbolizes the energy of air element. That is your thinking. Okay. So that tone is going to clear the static in your mind. So whatever you need to hear in this message, all right, you can do so. All right. Clearly, coherently, okay, safely, and trust in your inner knowing. Okay? First tone is air element. That's your thinking. Second tone is going to be water element. That's for your emotions. Okay? That tone is going to help stabilize your emotions so you can hear the message without unbalanced feeling, where you can actually feel what your body's saying to you and what you can actually feel what's really going on within you, okay, within your inner world. Next tone is going to be fire element. That's going to be for action and movement, all right? Sometimes you can't move too quickly. You got to balance what you feel and think about things before you react. What you want to do is respond, not react, okay? So, last and final tone you're going to hear is the fourth element, which is earth. This is a physical manifestation. This is the physical world, your job, your money, the kids, relationship, blah, 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 okay? Now, with that being said, if you hear a fifth tone, that is because one of the tones are off, and I'm going to let you know what tone that is, all right? And if that tone is off or is short or it felt weak, we're going to go ahead and sound that tone again for that element so that energy can be clear. There's a science to this, all right? You're learning in three ways, all right? You're either learning via repetition. This is why I repeat myself constantly on these videos. You're also learning by symbolism, okay? That's why we use the cards. And then you learn by trauma. And if you look at the world and what's going on, yeah, there's a lot of trauma going on. And if you look at past relationships and shit that has disappointed you and traumatized you, yeah, I don't need to traumatize you. We're trying to get all of that cleared up and healed, okay? With that being said, first tone. Second tone. Third tone. fourth tone. Wow, that fourth tone lasted a while. That lets me know something is brewing in the physical realm, y'all, okay? That third tone, that fire tone, that tone was also really beautiful. That let me know that you still want to be moving very slowly in your movement, right? So you want to make sure that you're not forcing things, that you're allowing things to flow, okay? Now, you guys know that we're doing the 12-fold archetype, okay, and architecture, right? We're starting off with the 12 color bands, the prism, right? Because we're in a prism, not a prison, right? And we're also going through the color bands, and we're also going through the love tones. We're starting off with the color bands and the love tones. These are the foundational 12, okay? Everything else you can say is really built on the color spectrum, the color band, the 12 color band spectrum, as well as the 12 love tones. This is why we're starting here, all right? Now, these are linked to your nervous system as far as your brainstem, okay, your pons, and your medulla, okay? This is where your breath is regulated, your heart rate, your blood pressure, sleep, okay? Your motor and sensory signals, okay? So we're talking here literally about you being able to walk around without anxiety, without depression, without feeling tired, without feeling moody, right? With your body moving and flowing fluidly and not tight and not tense and not inflamed, okay? Now, you're also going to find here, ooh, delight. That's a beautiful frequency, y'all. This is a tone of the reading, delight. Then I say that fourth tone was beautiful, delight. And I'm finding like, and I'm picking up that this is happening not just internally, you're going to start seeing this happen externally. Okay, so we're going to build on that and see what the full message is. Delight. I love it, right? You know, sleep is important. It's especially important in this time because it's an aspect that's needed to help regulate your nervous system, okay? So we're dealing, like I said, with the two bands. We're dealing with the deep red color, right, which is your brainstem, your medulla, your pons, which I just told you. Regulates your breathing, your heart rate, your blood pressure, your sleep, you know. We're also dealing with the red-orange color, right? And this is where trust comes in. So deep red is where we're tapping into safety and how that feels, what that looks like in relationship, outside of relationships, what that looks like and feels like in your body, right? So the deep red deals with safety. The red-orange color deals with trust. This is the vagus nerve energy here that we're going to be dealing with. So now we're talking about your digestion, your immune system, your mood, your speech, your taste buds. Okay? So do you know, like, when you're off balance and you're stressed out, your sleep is off, you're not breathing properly, right? Your blood pressure is probably high because you stressed the hell out, okay? Which probably means that you're not probably eating and taking care of yourself properly, right? Because now your digestion is all messed up, right? Now your immune system is jacked up also because your response, cortisol levels are high because you're constantly responding to things in stress mode and your body tight and your body's tense. And not only are you dealing with your mood swings, you're dealing with other people's moodiness because other people is experiencing the same things and going through the same things and they're not aware of what's happening. So in this video again, we're building on the deep red color band spectrum and the red-orange color band spectrum. Deep red represents safety. The red orange represents trust. So we're talking about safety and trust. And the points that we're going to hit today is shame and guilt, right? Because a lot of this energy, right, that's attached to you not breathing properly, not sleeping properly, your digestion, your immune system is attached to shame and guilt, people pleasing, manipulation, emotional and mental abuse, overextending yourself when you don't need to, right? So let's just go ahead and tap into what we are here to get into today, okay? All right, so frequency of the light supports our capacity to create, to experience feelings of intense joy and happiness. The more delight we feel, the more delight we evoke in others. Okay, so first of all, let me just say right now, I just talked about safety and trust, right? I also just talked about when you don't feel safe, your sleep is off, your blood pressure is off, your breathing is off, right? Your digestion could be off, your immune system is not working the way that it should be working, right? Moody, irritated, right? So the first question we're going to ask ourselves today is, what state of safety or survival is shaping our situations and our experiences that are not coded in delight? When we look at our life and we're looking at our experiences and we're looking at our interactions, where do we not feel delight happening? Where do we feel tension? Where do we feel rigidness? Where do we feel shame? Where do we feel guilt? I told you relationships are unfolding right now, and how you're going to evolve and remember and ascend is through relationships. People are going to be teaching you about you. People are going to be helping you to activate things within you. Some of it may be triggered by what is the word? Disappointment, or betrayal, or, and some of it may be triggered by happiness and joy. You cannot take the old things with you, right? So now, remember we talked about having to change your perspective of things, right? And you can't really change your perspective of a thing if you don't even know where you are in a thing, right? You can't. I forgot to tell y'all to pull out your water so we can charge the water. Okay? I'm so sorry. I forgot about that. Okay. I need to remember that we are charging our water. I forgot about that. Let me write that down so I can remember. Okay. Now you're coming from a place where you're moving only with things that feel ease and flowing, like they flow. You don't want to force anything, This is where you begin to pay attention to how to read energy. You pay attention how to read people, how to read situations. Your body is going to tell you what situations are you stepping into that there's not delight. What state of safety or survival mode is shaping your relationships, okay? Energetically, right? Spirit is saying it's time for you to step into the delight. Are you moving in delight? Submission. Bottom of the deck is death. And I feel like you have to surrender to the things that are dying, the things that you cannot hold on to, the things that bring you stress, the things that have you not sleeping, that you cannot control. You can't control people. Clarify submission. Somebody is still operating in survival mode. And for those of you that are operating in survival mode, it's because you have not surrendered and submitted to something that it's time for it to exit. It could be a person. Vulnerability is showing up here. Guilt. Okay, come on now. We talked about that. Didn't I tell you that? One of the things where people don't feel safe and you can't trust, right? And you self-sabotage situation is linked to people manipulating you with guilt. Especially if you're an empath. You should be guarded and vulnerable right now. Everybody should be guarded and vulnerable, not for love, but for toxicity. And you know enough of what that feels like. You know, some people are dealing with narcissistic situation, or some people have dealt with narcissistic situation where you're still operating from a place of survival mode. You're still learning how to trust yourself. So some of this is not even that you don't want to submit. You may not necessarily know how to, because you're still operating from a place of fear. You're still operating from a place of urgency. You're still operating from a place of guilt or shame. Shame can keep you locked up in some situations, honey. Listen. Shame can keep you stuck and locked in situation for years that you got no business staying in. What makes you feel safe? Who's broken your trust? What situations or relationships you're moving in, navigating right now that does not bring you delight, that does not bring you joy, that does not bring you excitement, that does not bring you happiness? What relationship or situation have you feeling guarded? Have you feeling guilty? Have you self-sabotaging plans and goals that you have for yourself? Have you doubting yourself? What are you holding on to that needs to let go? Because whatever it is, it's fucking with your nervous system, right? Because I can promise you right now, if you're holding on to something that you should be letting go that is causing you stress, you are not breathing fully. You're not breathing fully. You're not relaxing fully. There's tension in your body. There's inflammation in your body. Remember, when you see that deep red color, that's a symbol of safety. Think about it. Whenever you're walking around in your day, listen, this is the third time that this card done came out. It came out in the first video that I made unlisted. The second video that I redid, and this is the third time this is coming out. This is the looping energy. This is a looping energy. Hunger. We talked about this. Some of you are hungry for something different. Some of you are hungry for safety. Just to feel safe with someone, to be yourself. But can I tell you that safety first comes with you feeling safe with you? Can I tell you that? That safety first comes with you feeling safe with you. There's a hunger here for something new, for something different, for something safe, for something you can trust. You don't want to move in survival mode anymore, right? This delight energy here, when we begin to think about what makes us feel safe versus what makes us feel like we're operating in survival mode, when you feel safe, you feel grounded, you feel present, you feel supported. There's a hunger for that. To feel grounded, to feel supported, even when you don't know what's going on, or you don't know how things are going to end up, or you don't know, this is a place where you're walking around where you are not holding expectations from anybody but yourself. You're saving space for yourself, because when your cup runneth over, then you can share with other people. But if you're walking around and you're sad and you're down and you're depressed and you feel overwhelmed, first of all, that's vagus nerve energy. That's your nervous system, right? Mood, out of whack. So if you see a red orange color, that's linking to trust, but that's also linking to your digestive system, your immune system. Until death tear us apart, contrast career commitments. There's a hunger for something new in your relationships, even if it's your relationships with yourself. There's a hunger for something that's resonance with something pure, something kind, something loving, something compassion, right? This hunger card is your second card placement. This is all about what emotional memories or relationship patterns are replaying. And look, what's replaying? Clarify contracts and commitments. I cannot make this up. Self-worth. Self-worth, y'all. Self-worth. Only expectations you can have is for yourself. When you start having expectations for yourself and you start living within those expectations, and people has to start operating within the vibration that you resonate in. Stop saying yes to situations when you really mean no. Allow your no's to be no's and your yeses to be yes. What emotional patterns or old memories you are now replaying in your relationships? What emotional memories? Are they linked to shame? Are they linked to guilt? We already saw it here. Are you self-sabotaging? Some of you are in abusive mental situations with yourself where you're just replaying just a whole bunch of lies to yourself. You're not enough. You're never going to have enough. You're never going to be enough. People are always doing shit to me. People are out to get me. And, do you know, once you step into your power, even what another means for your harm turns around and benefits you for your highest and greatest good? Everything turns around for your highest and greatest good. Are there anything that's being projected to you or that you are projecting to other people in your relationship because you have not tapped into your self-worth? If you're not operating in the true version of this color band system here, right? Where we're not operating from the version of being in a prison and being trapped on earth, right? If you're operating from each spectrum of light carries an energetic vibration, here is emotional maturity. It's attunement. It's doing the work. It's being honest with yourself. Yesterday, I wanted to get on here and do this video, and I'm going to be very honest with you. I have been off from since I've come back from these 2 trips, back-to-back trips, okay? I really have to spend a lot of quiet time, and just traveling. I'm still listen. And only one of these trips were planned in advance. The other one was a surprise. So if you know me, you know I like to plan ahead. And that threw me off. So now I'm being kind to myself because I'm also here exercising my self-worth. I love you guys, but I can't give to others what I'm not giving to myself. Yesterday, energetically, the energy was heavy yesterday. I felt it in my body. I don't know what was going on the planets. I didn't really look. But even in the heaviness of the energy yesterday, I had a beautiful day. I allowed things to flow, but I also knew that I did not want to force a message. I also knew this, what we're doing right here, building these series, this is not just for us, but this is for generations to come. This is not just about clickbait. I'm teaching you a system here. There is an emotional field, and that emotional field is connected to love tone, your stability, and compassion, right? That has an actual color to it. Your emotional field has a color. Your thoughts have sacred geometry. I say all of that to say you matter. You may listen. Don't give other people's opinion about you more weight than the opinion you give yourself. And let me also tell you something about your higher self. Your higher self is not going to tell you lower vibrational shit about yourself. It's not going to tell you you're not worthy. It's not going to tell you you're not going to have anything. It's not going to do that to you. It's not. No. It's not going to do that. It will tell you, now you know that was wrong. Now you know you need to do this. Now you know you need to do that. But it's never going to tell you that you're not going to amount to anything. There's a hunger here for genuine, organic connections. But that's codependent on your self-worth. You can't hunger for genuine, divine, organic connections when you out here operating in guilt and self-sabotaging yourself. And can I just tell you something? When that genuine, authentic connection come in, whether it's business, whether it's personal, vulnerability is going to be recorded. And yes, you should be guarded and move slow. But being guarded don't mean being closed off. What emotional memories and patterns are you replaying? Because you're hungering for something beautiful. You're hungering for something that makes you smile when you're with them, just like when you smile when you're with yourself. You want somebody that compliments you. If you're doing your work, you're at the space where you want somebody that compliments you. You want somebody that compliments you. Let's take a look and see where this energy is unfolding. All right. Now, what you should be asking yourself here with this card is, what truth is seeking expression or recognition? What truth is seeking expression or recognition? Whew. We got the Chariot. Chariot is Cancerian energy. That's Cancer's energy. This is about tradition. But this is about so this is how I'm going to phase this, right? Because traditions can be created. Not all traditions are good, work for you right now. Okay? So this card represents tradition. But it also represents achievement through your efforts of self-mastery. This represents self-mastery. This energy is unfolding for you, stepping into your truth, being balanced. I want you to take a look at something here, though. All right? What truth is seeking expression or recognition is the question here. There's so much symbolism going on here. Kundalini energy rising, masculine and feminine energy, right? I don't know if you notice, however, both of these dogs are female. You got wisdom moving forward, right? Light and dark side energy, masculine, feminine energy representation. You got the stars. And this is a constellation. Shit. I can't remember the constellation. Hold on. I gotta get that constellation, y'all. Yeah, that's a constellation. What's that? The Big Dipper? Is that the Big Dipper? Okay, I can't remember the constellation. If you know what constellation this is, put it in the chat. I cannot remember the constellation, so I can't even look it up in my book because I don't remember the constellation. It's giving me Big Dipper energy, but I don't remember the constellation. But this energy is looping where traditions are concerned, but these traditions are happening through self-mastery. Whether it is that you're creating new traditions, right? Whether it is that you are seeking the truth from the tradition that you were brought up in, right? Remember, you're dealing with your safety here. What feels safe and what you can trust, right? So maybe church is not doing what church used to do for you, right? Maybe meditation is cool, but you want to now include chanting, right? So maybe you creating whatever tradition works for you on your spiritual path. This is how this is going to unfold. The delight that you seek, the happiness that's here for you to experience, the balancing of your nervous system when you're walking around feeling safe and not always on guard, not always thinking that you got to protect yourself against people because you walk around protected. If you walk around protected, you don't always have to ask for protection. It just is. The chariot is clarified with the pentagram, right? So we're talking about harmony. We're talking about protection. I just talked about that. We're talking about harmony. We're talking about protection. But we're also talking about your truth. Your truth. Now keep in mind that truth is only going to get you. Listen, okay, so truth only needs to be internally validated. It's going to be externally verified. Okay? And you know what I have discovered? Everybody's truth ain't the same. Everybody's truth is based on their perception. Universal truth is the same for everybody, right? And one of the universal truth is gravity, right? Gravity is the same for everybody. When the leaves blow and they get dry, they fall to the ground. They don't float. You go up and try jumping down the building, you're going to fall to the ground. You're not going to float. This is a natural order of things. This is harmony. This is good health. This is perfection, right? And you know what we say about perfection? It is within your imperfections that you find your perfection. This is safety. This is security. What does safety and security look like to you? And I'm not talking about from a physical thing. And, maybe, I'm not saying that, like a roof over your head and clothes on your back and food. I'm not talking about those things. Because you can have all of those things and feel like you're still not safe. Like you still can't trust people. Like you still always have to watch your back. It is time for you to breathe easy, to sleep and wake up feeling joyful, wake up with your body not tense, with your body not sore. It is time for anxiety to begin to dissolve. And that can only happen when you begin to allow the truth that's within you, expression and recognition, even the fucked up things that you think. You know, somebody might have did something to you, you understand what I'm saying, and you thought like, you know, asshole, drove, you know, let me just tell you something, y'all. If you've been here on this channel for a while, you know I've talked about me and driving, and when I get behind the wheel, like, you would not think that I'm spiritual, because I don't, like, I literally had to ask myself, why do I get so frustrated when people cut me off? And they got plenty of room, and that's what you're supposed to do when you're driving, like, you know, you move through traffic. And after doing the digging and exploring about, you know, how I would change into this different person in the car, I realized that was linked to me feeling like something was taken away from me, or somebody's trying to get me, or somebody's trying to take something from me, and somebody's trying to get over on me. Then I had to go deeper with that. Where did that stem from? So this is the kind of work I'm talking about. This energy of the light is going to require you to have harmonious situations. So you are going to have to allow your truth to be heard. You don't have to act on things. See, and a lot of times what we try to do is our energy don't like somebody. Our energy is telling us somebody's off, right? But what do? Because we're trying to be a good person. You know, you're trying to be, you know. Let me tell you something right here. This card is saying to you is, as you begin to express and recognize the truth within you, and not suppress how you feel, not suppress what you think about a situation, you know, even when it comes to relationships. And if you want clarity in a relationship, or if there's confusion in a relationship, or you feel suppressed, like you can't speak your truth in a relationship, I'm going to tell you right now, that might not be the relationship for you. Anything or any relationship that's not bring you internal delight right now, where it's clear, insightful, you not guessing. Okay, y'all. All right now. All right, we're moving on to how you're going to be navigating this, right? And this is the thing you want to ask yourself here. This is what you want to ask yourself here as how you're going to navigate this. How is all of this being reflected through others? How is this situation being reflected through others? Transformation. What changes do you need to make that are being reflected through others? Or the collective, all right? Maybe there's a message that you've been hearing because you've been, you know, doing your work and watching some videos, you know. Vulnerability dropped out again. Guard it. There's a transformation happening. You do have to guard your energy from energetic vampires, from narcissistic energy. But everybody has a little bit of narcissistic energy in them, right? Some people have an extreme or narcissistic trait. Let me not say energy traits, or selfish traits, or lack of awareness traits. You just have some people that are definitely more on the spectrum than others, that take it way too far, that may need medical help, that has some type of traumatic childhood that they have not been doing the work on. This transformation that's happening, this guarded energy that you have, really wanting to protect your energy and not share it with people that's not worthy of your energy. And I use that knowing fully well, worthy. Not everybody is worthy of your energy. Anybody that's going to come into your vicinity and leave you feeling drained and disharmony and confused and not safe emotionally or mentally, or even if they put you in an unsafe physical situation, no. Mm-mm. Pay attention to how you are reflecting through others in your relationship, how people treat you, where you feel separated and where you feel misaligned or misattuned, right? Versus where you feel resonance, where you feel mutual recognition, where it's that give and take energy. There's transformation happening here. This is how you're navigating this, right? Because you're transforming. And you don't have to share this with everybody else. When you begin your journey, your change, people are going to try to make you feel guilty and manipulate you. And can I tell you, the silent treatment, if you live with somebody because you're changing and because you're doing your spiritual work on your path, that's emotional abuse. That's mental manipulation. We're going to start calling these things as what they are. You're transforming. It's okay for you to be guarded and be aware of where you're placing your energy. Your energy is your currency, aka your attention. Where your attention goes, energy flows. The Ace of Fire, Leo, Aries, Sagittarius is energy. This is action-driven energy. Leo is that confidence. Aries is that inner knowing, I amness, that isness. Sagittarius is that perception. Very perceptive energy and expansion. You're going through an expansive transformation. Allow it to unfold. Allow it to unfold. What's resonating? Mutual recognition versus separation here, okay? Now, this last question you want to ask yourself is, what choices can you make to restore coherence and wholeness in your life? What choices can you make to bring wholeness, coherence, and balance back into your life, right? Where you don't feel rigid, where you don't feel like you're looping, where you feel more like you're integrated and aligned with things, aligned with people, where things are flowing with ease. Think about that. The sexuality card came out. And when this card comes out, I don't even just think about, I think about sensuality. I think also about creative energy, because sexual energy is creative energy. Where are you putting your creative energy? Are you embracing your sensuality? Are you embracing your sexuality? Whether you're a man or a woman. Are you being picky with who you're sharing your energy sexually with? Because some of you may be sharing your energy with somebody where it's not harmonious. You're trying to submit to something that the universe is asking you to release. We're going to clarify this. And get another card for sexuality. Clarify sexuality for us. Give us another card for sexuality. I just kind of feel like sex don't fix things, okay? It don't. So it's saying vision. Here we go again with the yin yang dual energy, okay? Sexuality is also creative energy. So if you're not in a relationship, you're going to go ahead and you're going to use this as creative energy. If you're single and you're dating, you're going to use this to know that be mindful of who you're sharing your creative energy with sexually. You don't just create babies. If you are engaging in that type of energy with somebody that's toxic, you're going to produce toxic experiences. What's your vision about your self-worth? Are you in relationships and situationships and business ships where it's not looping energy, where you can trust, where you feel safe. Where you're not repeating old emotional memory and toxicity, but you're operating from new patterns. Where you're not dealing with somebody projecting or you projecting, where it's emotionally maturity, emotional intelligence, attunement, alignment, truth, clarity. There's no confusion. Don't put, and this is just for whoever this is in particular, especially if you're single and you're dating. Understand that your sexual energy is also creative energy. If you have a vision of the new relationship or relationships that you want to bring into your experience and you used to lead with sex first, that should not be what you're leading with. On the opposite end, if you have not been embracing your sensuality, if you have not been embracing your sexuality, whether you're male or female, you need to do so. Which means that, okay, if you haven't gotten you a shape up or a cut, get you a little cut, a little fade in the while. If you're a man, you need to go ahead and do that. If you're a woman and you walking around and you haven't done your eyebrows, not even put on no mascara for a while, you go to work every day and you come on now. You leave the house every day with a bonnet. It's okay for you to leave the house sometime with a bonnet, but embrace your beauty. Take the bonnet on. Go natural for today. Take the lashes off and embrace your natural elegance. Put the makeup on if you don't put makeup on, to embrace your beauty that you forgot you had because you up and down running with these kids doing everything. You forgot how damn fine you are. And for those of you that feel like you need to put on the mask and the makeup and the wigs every day, maybe it's time that you take those things off so you can remember how fine you are without those things. Those things just accentuate who you are. They're not who you are. All right, my loves. Remember the color bands that we were dealing with in this energy for this video is deep red. So when you see deep red, think about your safety. What makes you feel safe? Do you feel safe in this conversation? Do you feel safe in this relationship? Just know when you don't feel safe, your breath is off, your heart rate is off, your sleep is going to be off. Your sensory motor skills is going to be off. Your blood pressure is going to be high or low, depending, what you got going on. Just what part of the spectrum you on with it, okay? Usually high, because your cortisol levels are going to be high. When you see that red-orange color, just think about trust. Do you trust yourself? Do you trust this situation? Do you trust this person? Think about how it feels in your body. Think about what shame or guilt you're holding on to before you say yes or no to a situation. Think about who is manipulating you because they want you to do what they want. Remember, when you see that red-orange color, that's your vagus nerve energy. So that's your digestion, that's your immune system, that's your mood, that's your taste buds, that's your speech, right? All of these things are affected just because of your interpersonal relationship with other people and yourself, the intimate relationship with other people and yourself. Think about that. Okay, y'all. So y'all know the deal. Okay. You want to go ahead and you want to do something kind for yourself, absolutely, because you should. You want to go ahead and make sure that you're breathing as deeply and relaxing your shoulders and shaking your body out, because you should. You should not be walking around with all of this tension, with all of this rigidness. Okay? And then you want to try and do something kind for someone else, not because you should, but because you can. Okay? Yes, you can. Okay? Confidence is contagious. Kindness is contagious. A smile is contagious. Okay? Appreciate yourself and appreciate other people. When you can see yourself in another person, you're on the way. Because then you have more compassion. You have more empathy. You have more love, and love doesn't always mean saying yes. Sometimes love is just safe in space for someone to have their moment, whatever that moment is. Good, bad, indifferent, it doesn't matter. All right, y'all. We gonna close out this message and this transmission. I will see you guys in the next episode. All right. I think we're still gonna stick with safety and trust. I haven't been released to jump off of safety and trust yet. So next episode is probably going to be around safety and trust, and we're gonna see what the message is. I love and appreciate each and every one of you, and I'm gonna see you in your next video, my lovely gurus. Transmission is over.